Hi there, I'm Nick Blinco. I'm the Vice Principal for Advancement at the University of Melbourne, and we're here today to talk with Peter McMullin about his and Ruth McMullin's donation to establish the Peter McMullin Centre on Statelessness at the University of Melbourne. Hi Peter, I think people might find it interesting to know a little bit more about how we met.
We had a coffee and we talked, and I said, well, what if we were going to make a substantial donation to the university? What would you do with it? And then you came up with well, you didn't actually answer the question the first time.
No, I think I refused to answer the question.
Yeah, you refused to answer the question. And then you actually put together a program for Ruth and I to go around the university. One of the great days of my life. It was a wonderful experience just to discover what goes on at the University of Melbourne. I mean, there were so many things that I had not... I keep in touch with community affairs and what have you, and the areas that I was interested in, you opened up quite remarkably for us. And we wanted to fund them all, of course, and you can't do that. So, because of my history in refugee law, I was interested in the statelessness question, but wasn't quite clear about how that might work, but then became very excited about the idea of the first global centre in the world devoted in an academic sense towards resolution of issues around statelessness, which is a massive growing global problem.
Many people probably aren't familiar with actually what statelessness is. People understand that there are refugees, but statelessness is a particular and growing subset of that.
Statelessness is having no state, and it's actually not being recognised by anybody as having any of the rights attaching to be a member of a state. I mean, what could be worse? Statistics suggest that there's a child born into statelessness in the world every 10 minutes. Now, one of the first tasks of the Centre on Statelessness is to get some of that global data together to actually put some substance behind those figures.
Did it surprise you that a university like Melbourne actually engaged in this kind of work?
I was very involved in the university when I was at university, but I really haven't had a lot to do with it in the intervening years, and probably had a layman's view about what went on in universities, and was aware of social equity issues, and that Melbourne was embracing them, and I've always been interested in social equity issues myself, so I'm attracted by that idea, and the fact that they were being pursued at Melbourne was a very important consideration for me. It's been a great experience. I've enjoyed it, and you've made it very easy. Your team have been fantastic, and I think more people need to have these sorts of positive experiences around philanthropy to do it, because it's been historically a slightly esoteric area and a little bit, is it all to do with tax? Is it all to do with this or that or the other, or putting names on buildings? And I see it as part of social change, and it's an important part of achieving social change, and we've seen the difficulty that governments have had of doing some of these serious matters. But so anybody who's watching this, I would say they should think about it seriously and ring you if they...
I think that's a very good idea. I think
if they need to develop it further, or if they can't get to you, I'm happy to talk to them. This is what's been interesting about the philanthropic process, is that I've actually learnt an incredible amount just by being engaged in this process. I thought I knew everything before, but I don't.
Well, it's a really big university, and one of the real joys in doing what I do is that pretty much anyone who came to us and said, my interests are these 3 or 4 things, or even this list of 10 things, what do you do? It's pretty easy for us to say, well, we've got world-class people actually making a difference in those areas that you really, really care about. Perhaps we move on then to talk about, so we did our discovery day with you and Ruth. How did you narrow down from the list of, I think, 6 or 7 things we worked on that day to something that came to this level of specificity?
It's a matter of finding out what works for you. Now, statelessness worked for me because of my history in the Refugee Review Tribunal, and once upon a time Australia was a leader in this space, so you couldn't say we were anymore. But my hope is that one day Australia can be a leader in statelessness.
So you could have taken this idea anywhere. is there anything, I mean, you are an alumnus of the university, you spend a lot of time here, you're very politically active here, but any other reasons that you'd like people to know about why the University of Melbourne rather than anywhere else?
I felt a deep sense of gratitude to Melbourne University for my own life, in a way, in a lot of senses. I mean, I can trace just about everything I've ever done in my life to those years that I had at Melbourne University. Now, I mean, that's priceless, really, and I felt a need to contribute and to repay the favour, if you like. I mean, it's perhaps a hackneyed expression, but it is actually acknowledging the importance of the university to my life.
And how did it feel to give? I mean, you are being extraordinarily generous to the university.
Look, really good. Really, I mean, I think it's been an important thing for us to actually do together, and that we've actually really benefited from a broadening of our knowledge and understanding of the university. And, you know, there's a wonderful collegiate sense that you get, which was quite easy to reconnect with, having been away from it for 40 years or more. I have no doubt I will be involved in the university for a long time now in a way that I perhaps didn't imagine I would be.
Oh, we certainly hope so. I mean, as we talked about before, you and Ruth have been just a complete joy to work with, and for a fundraiser, to work with people like you who have such clear passions for things that really make a difference, and then to be able to put that into place within this organisation has just been amazing. So I'd like to say again, thank you very much to both you and Ruth, and we just love working with you and looking forward to a long and fruitful relationship. So thanks, Peter. Cheers.
Enjoying it.